In the year 2000, the USS Cole was also attacked. 17 sailors died, 39 were wounded. Another terrorist attack. 9/11 happened, September 11, 2001. And I don't need to tell you what happened on that day. It is our Pearl Harbor. That's this generation's Pearl Harbor. We will not forget what happened that day. I remember the conversation I had at work. I remember where I was working. I remember that my backhoe had just got it the day before, and it had a radio. First time I had a radio in my machine. And I'm listening to it thinking some idiot has flown a plane into a tower in New York. I did not understand what had happened. But I did that night when I went home. Something serious had changed. Our whole life had changed. 9/11 is our Pearl Harbor. Horrible events that we will not forget were on the nightly news for a long time. We will not forget that day. London, England. Remember I told you that Israel consisted of England and the United States? Their 9/11 was called 7/7. 3 subway bombs and 1 bus bombing. 3 weeks later, they had another attempted 4 subway bombings that were aborted. We then had the Spain bombing, the Bali bombing. We had the 17 arrested in Toronto. We had the shoe bomber coming over from England, trying to blow up the planes there. We've had a number of attempts. MSN reported that since you entered Iraq because of this war, we've had over 10,000 bombs or 10,000 terrorist attacks throughout the world in 2006. And there are continuously attacks on the United States today that are being caught and stopped before they even happen. But they don't get reported because it becomes normal. We're getting used to it. We're in the pot of water and we're just getting used to these things happening. I've gone through a number of airport checks here and security is extremely tight, and everywhere, it's even in your domestic country, it's very strict. The pot of water is boiling and you're in it. July 2006, Hezbollah began to fire rockets into Israel. I bought my tickets for Israel at this time. It was a great deal. I knew what I'm about to show you was not the end of the world because of what I'm learning here. I got my tickets for half price. There was no lineups in Israel when I got there. Notice how many people were killed here. Only 44. 3,900 rockets, only 44. What's going on? This is terrorism. It is to scare the civilization. Read this. Hezbollah head Hassan Nasrallah asked, when in any Arab-Israeli conflict were 2 million Israelis forced to flee or enter a bomb shelter? Huge statement. Why? Because of the rest of the first terror attack, or the first terror curse. And I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you. And you shall flee when no one pursues you. How prophetic was that? Yahweh put it right there in black and white, long before this event happened. 1995 was the year 49. 1996 was the Jubilee year, and also the year count, the first year in the count to the next Jubilee cycle. And we have terror during that period of time, and it increases. Now, I have a little girl, or I had a little girl, she's now a young lady. When she was little, she used to have a temper tantrum. And her mom would bring her home and tell me to fix it. So I laid out some rules to her. I says, if you're going to do this again, I'm going to spank you on the bum with a wooden spoon. And I said, if you do it again after that, we're going to go up to 3 times, 1 in the bum and 1 in each hand. If you do it again after that, we're going to go to 5. And if you do it again after that, we're going to go to 10. So within a week, she did it, 1 in the bum. Then a little bit later, she did it again, and we went to 3. The next day, she did it again. We went to 5. And I was getting upset. You know, like 5, that's a lot. Wooden spoon. Well, darned if she didn't do it again the next day. She's testing me. So I take her aside, and I got to 6, and I couldn't do any more than 5 and threaten 6. But I let her go, and she never did it again. But I've always threatened her. That's the rules in our house. 1, 3, 5, 10. Well, it's the same with Yahweh. If you're going to break His rules, He's going to spank you. And he does it, and he's told us right from the beginning, this is my rules and this is how I'm going to do it. Here's rule number 1. I will send terror upon you. If you don't obey, I will continue to send terror upon you, plus I'm going to send the next curse, which is read in Leviticus 26:18. And after all this, if you will not hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. 7 times. What does that mean? Well, we read in Daniel that times time and a half time means 3.5 years. So 7 times, because we're talking about sabbatical years, is a 7-year period of time. So 7 times is 7 years. It can be 7 times multiplied, bigger, stronger, but it means 7 years. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron and the earth as brass. And your strength shall be spent in vain, and your land shall not yield their increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. The pride of your power. What's he talking about? Your army. The earth shall be as iron, or as brass, and the heaven as iron. When this was going on here in 2006, I have a brand new backhoe. When I put on the backhoe, I put on brand new teeth to dig the earth. And as I'm digging, those teeth usually last me about 1.5 years. I only go down 3 and 4 feet. But as I got down to 5 feet, the ground was so hard that it was burning up my teeth. Why is it so hard? The moisture is being sucked out of the ground. 2005 and 2006 were very, very dry years. This is Australia, 2006. Take a look at the sheep on the left-hand side. Look at their hips. They are dying of thirst. On the right-hand side is a farmer he has just cropped his field. And look how dry it is. It's already turning to dust as the cattle walk over it. Australia said that the year of 2006 was the worst drought in 1,000 years. Not 100, not 10. The worst drought in 1,000 years. They were in serious trouble. Prime Minister Howard said that the farmers were no longer allowed to take water out of the Darby River. They had to save the water, let it flow down the river so they could go into the cities. So the farmers were selling off their animals at whatever price they could get so the people could have water in the cities. It was a very, very tough time. This is their water supply. The lakes on the left, the ponds on the left are all dried up. Those are big lakes. The gentlemen are showing you how dried up the land is. They have no water for their animals, no water for their crops. This is 2006. The red line shows you the amount of rain that they actually got. 50% of the normal amount. On the drawing on the right, you can see that in July of 2005, how green the wheat fields were. In 2006, 1 year later, you can see how brown they are from the drought. Australia exports about 25% of the world's market in wheat. This is serious stuff. Something was beginning to happen. We were beginning to see something, and it's falling within that period of time that I'm talking about as the drought years, starting after 2003. Here's the United States. The dark brown is severe, extremely severe. Red is less, orange is even less, and yellow is severe drought or abnormally dry conditions. White is normal. 2004. Here's 2005 and 2006. What happened in 2005 to relieve the drought? 3 ladies came to the United States. Rita, Wilma, and Katrina. And you still have not recovered from that. There are still people living underneath bridges down there because of that. Look at the drought conditions. Here's last year, 2007. Remember all the forest fires out in California? Well, watch this spring. They will start to have mudslides everywhere. Okay, that's what's going to happen next. Take a look at Georgia in 2007. Alabama, southern Tennessee, South Carolina. Extremely severe drought. The dark red is exceptionally severe drought. The red is extreme, orange is severe, and yellow is moderate. Take a look on the right, February 2008.